Well, good morning, everyone. We're going to begin lecturing in 10-minute chunks, and then we'll see how it goes through these larger, more complicated PowerPoints. But again, hopefully everybody's wearing their PPE and staying safe out there. The first time we go through this again, and we'll review, we'll take it slow, but again, we're going to talk mainly about gene expression and how we determine self from non-self. So there's going to be a lot of molecular events coming through as we go through this PowerPoint. So we're going to talk about the thymus and how we develop a T-cell population that can go after foreign things, but not you. And that's going to be one of our sort of mountain climbing events as we go through this chapter, and then it'll be hopefully all downhill for PowerPoints 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But here we go. So the T cells again start out as babies in the bone marrow, just like B cells. But then the T cells have to migrate to the thymus. Now, when we start out as embryos in fetal development, the fetal liver actually does a lot of the heavy lifting for the bone marrow to produce these baby B cells. But then again, once you're born, again, magic happens. Things switch over. Your lungs breathe air, and you switch over to the bone marrow. So we mainly talk about the bone marrow as the generator for B cells and pre-T cells, and then the T cells move to the thymus. But again, this was discovered first in the bursa of Fabricius in birds, that is near where the bird guano comes out. So that's where actually B cells got the B from, not the bone marrow. Whereas again, T cells get the T from the thymus. And again, we've seen these organs in the rat now, so hopefully we're going to dive down in and look at the microenvironments and those molecular events that occurred during this development. So again, we'll take it slow. If you have any questions, please chat with me. But there's a lot of things going on in these stromal cells as they interact as these little mattresses for these baby B cells and T cells in these tissues. A lot of it has to do with interactions on the cell-cell level, and some in a kind of secreted factors that interact with receptors on the surface of the cells as they develop. So we're going to, review all that business about B cell development and get into it in a lot more detail in terms of that post-transcriptional RNA processing and how you can have these B and T cells on the surface. I mean the IgM and IgD on the surface of B cell, and then also we'll obviously spend a lot of time talking about T cells, but we'll start with B cells first. So the B cell development is going to be easier, hopefully, and then you'll be able to hopefully deal with the T cell development as we go through this process. But both of them are going to start out with many baby progenitor cells, and then as we move through the bone marrow or the thymus, you're going to see that population decrease by over 90%. So again, lots going on. I'll try not to say that word again. I said it. So you can kind of follow this, but I'm not going to ask you these various phases. But you can see that there's a lot going on. But these two terms are going to be really important for B cells and T cells, particularly as we go through this material. So try to kind of keep track of what positive and negative selection are. And again, I'll try not to say that word. So the main thing to think about is, what tool, what machine in our toolbox would allow us to look at cell surface expression of these various receptors on B cells and T cells. And again, it's our flow cytometer. And think about, again, the rearrangement business. So all that VDJ joining, imprecise joining, the heavy and light chain things are happening, and so we're reviewing that here. Get my highlighter out. So the first things first, we're going to do the first constant region, which if you remember was mu. And then as that then develops, it's got to have a surrogate light chain to go with it so that it can signal from the surface. So this concept of a surrogate is going to be really important as we move through T cells as well. So try to keep track of, again, the things that are the same in B cells and T cells and the things that are different. So review, review, review. Again, hopefully everybody remembers that. I need to think of a different word so that I can not say that. So as far as the heavy chain goes, once that works, that means your recombinase enzyme is functional, and then you can move to the light chain rearrangement and use that same enzyme to develop then the light chain at random, and then begin this self-tolerance selection process. So again, think about, I guess we're always reviewing, I can't help it, how we are going to not attack ourselves. Then once we develop that population that is self-tolerant, then we can go out to the periphery in the lymph node, spleen, etc., and look for problems, trouble. So this process goes from immature cells to mature cells, and this naive word means that you haven't yet encountered antigen. Then we'll go into these different expressions of surface IgD and IgM over here, and we all know how that happened from the last exam. So these cartoons, pictures, diagrams help you with this, but again, I'm not going to have you draw all this for an essay. So just look at it, see if it helps you, but don't freak out about it. These expression patterns also are to help you, and so they show you that these genes go on and off during development. So that helps you follow how things happen. And then we'll kind of think about these concepts, these new words, and again, I said it, surrogate baby mama is going to be important. So we'll end here today. This is the way.